ITV, certainly the best.
The man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
Really, we're talking
That's
about.
what I said. So
that's-
when they bullied her,
Yeah.
if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional.
ITV, certainly the best.
All right, thank you so much. Welcome to the program African Discourse on Independent Television. My name is Evan Sunokugi, and today is going to be the last edition for the program for this month of January 2026. So a very big thank you. You've been watching from the very first edition we had this month and this year. Last week, Monday, if you were with us on this program, we went to Uganda, and of course, we saw a new president in Uganda. Not necessarily a new president, but a president that has been there since 1986. We're talking about Yoweri Museveni, one man that is 81 years old, and of course, he won the Uganda's election about 2 weeks ago, and he's going to be running that for the 7th term. So we looked at the impact of his governance, the 7th term, the 7th time in Uganda. So that was what we discussed last week. Well, today on the program African Discourse, we're going to be stretching it further, but not on Uganda anyway. We're going to be looking at the Sahel region now. And when we talk about the Sahel region, we are talking about ordinarily a region that is primarily made up of about 5 countries. We understand that Niger is there, Burkina Faso is there, Nigeria is there, Mali is there. And of course, the issue of the Sahel region really became prominent when the military junta started taking toll on governance in West Africa. So today on the program African Discourse, we are going to look at Africa's Sahel region and also see the impact of militarization on terrorism. Now, a lot of persons praise the military junta when they started taking a toll on governance in West Africa, that perhaps their incursion into governors in Africa, in West Africa, we kind of put a stop to terrorism. But that seems to be a big issue now on the lips of analysts because Africa, most especially the Sahel region, is still having terrorism issues as it stands. So all this will form the basis upon which we're going to be talking about today on the program African Discourse. And to do justice to our program today, we have two honorables, and one is joining us virtually. Honorable Destiny Orayerio in Abulile is joining us virtually from Abuja. Honorable, good afternoon.
My brother Evans, thank you for having me, and Happy New Year. Can you hear me? Hello.
Honorable, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we just, I can't hear you. It's okay, during the course of the program, we'll hear you better. And also on set, we are so privileged to have a one-time gubernatorial aspirant of a political party in Edo State here. I'm talking about Honorable Fred Oyigwe. Sir, you're welcome to the program African Discourse. All right, thank you so much. All right, so we will quickly take a short break and we'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
This is Aqua Game, a popular game in Africa played by our ancestors to entertain themselves after each day of farming. It is also relevant in our coronation in Africa. It is a sport and indeed very interesting, as every seed had a role in the game. Playtime is 45 minutes per set. There is no age limit as
All right, thank you one more time. The program Still African Discourse on Independent Television. Yes, I did say that we are looking at the militarization of the Sahel region and, of course, its impact on terrorism. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And my two guests are right here, one on set and one is joining us virtually from Abuja. Honorable Destiny, a very good afternoon to you.
Happy New Year. I guess you can hear me now.
All right. Okay. Honorable Fred Uigwe is also here with us. Good afternoon, Honorable Fred.
Good afternoon, Mr. Evans, and good afternoon to you viewers at home.
Okay. All right, so some of the information that we are following on our topic today is that the Sahel region is experiencing intense militarization, and we understand that this militarization is driven by a surge in jihadist violence and the coup belts of military regimes known as the coup in Mali, the one in Burkina Faso, in Niger, and this has started since 2020, and it's shifting foreign security alliances, and this has also resulted in escalating violence, increased civilian casualties, and also reliance on external mercenaries such as the Wagner group. So all these are the major issues in the Sahel region. All right, so Honorable Destiny, perhaps you have the better information when we talk about the Sahel region, because we understand that the Sahel region is faced by jihadist movements as it relates to terrorism and all that. Now, from your own point of view, what do you think is the main major issues when we talk about the Sahel region of Africa?
Evans, I guess you can hear me loud and clear. You see, the Sahel region cut across three countries, which are Mali, Burkina Faso, Chad, and part of Nigeria. You see, it's as a result. Yes, many have said, as you rightly introduced, the issue of coup d'etat and the likes, which is gradually, drifting to the part of the Nigeria, which is part of the Sahel region. You see, it is being necessitated as a result of, climate, vulnerability, if you ask me, because in the climate vulnerability, there are what we call the erratic rainfall, drought, and what have you, which, is a cause for why we are having these insurgents. You see, the problem is this. One of the things that enhance this kind of situations is as a result of bad government, according to some scholars. So for us as a people, I think that the Sahel of the Sahel region, there is need for synergy, for us to have a holistic fight against these insurgencies, which cut across, or perhaps you may call it banditry, kidnapping, Boko Haram, just name them, terrorism, just name them. But there is what we call a short term and a long term. The short term is what we are currently having without having a sustained fight. In having a sustained fight, we must have a good governance. So a good governance will bring about the issue of giving the people the desired livelihood. The desired livelihood. Please underline. It was Nelson Mandela that once said that every man has a kind of lifestyle that they want to live. In not meeting it, they become an outlaw, according to Nelson Mandela. So for us as a people, the government must be sincere, underline please, to the citizen by bringing the dividends of governance to the people. There are major primary governance of any government, which is the protection of lives and property. Every other thing is an addendum, it's an addition. So for me, you agree with me, across this Sahel region, the government across this Sahel region, as I named it earlier, you agree with me that there is a lacuna in terms of bringing the dividends of governance to the people. Hence, the people are agitated. And the reason of perhaps becoming an outlaw, it is before them. So for us, we must be very dispassionate, and the government must be willing and must be by way of having the political power to drive home these dividends of governance to the people. Because across, what we have is just government. We don't have governance. And the people are easily to drift towards either becoming an insurgent, Boko Haram, or perhaps to align with the recent thriving business of kidnapping, which is happening in the part of the Nigeria, which is very in the Sahel region. You agree with me? The school girls and what have you, invading of communities and leaving them to be paying taxes and all of that. So that is it for now.
Destiny. Now, Honorable Fred Uyigwe, Honorable Destiny talked about the long-term effects of the coming of the Sahel region, and I think that was where he was trying to talk about the military junta and the terrorism. But you remember that it was in 2023, about 3 years ago, that we had the alliance of the Sahel states, coming together, breaking away from ECOWAS, coming together to have their own bloc. Now, what would you want to say would be the long-term effects of this bloc, the alliance of Sahel region bloc? Are we going to have, at the end of the day, that these states can really wrestle the terrorism, the jihadist movements that seems to be rocking the region, as it were?
Thank you for that question. See, what has been happening in sub-Saharan Africa, or going back to the days of colonialism, you know that the colonial masters, they had interests that they were not willing to let go, even after the sham independence. I'll call them sham independence, because we were excited. Apparently our parents were excited to learn that they were going to be at some point independent. And we have come to find out that the so-called independence our parents gained for us is not really independence. So we have come to realize that we are still very much tied to these colonial masters, and they pursue their interests with some passion, without too much regard for our interests. But the world has become a global village, shrunk more than it has ever been before, primarily because of the advances in telecommunications technology, and then social media. So the youths can see, they can now see things that were hidden from them. Both things that were hidden from them and things that they could not have imagined that they would see or known to even exist. Now they can, with a tablet like you are holding or a cell phone, access anywhere in the world, get any information they want. So they are seeing that their interests has not been protected. Their interests over the years have been sidelined. So they have to wrestle for it. They have to now struggle all over again to gain that independence that they falsely believed they had gotten. So we're talking about the desire for emancipation. First, economic emancipation. Then, of course, political emancipation. Okay. So, and this is what drives the militarization you were talking about. Okay. Because, like Babangida once said, whenever they thought of engaging in military take over schools, they usually felt the pulse of the opinion of the masses. You know, if the masses were not grieved, then they knew that attempting to take over would not be received favorably. So that is what we are seeing in the Sahel region. Those three regions, they were able to see that the people, the masses, are being shortchanged. The leaders, the so-called democratic leaders that were heading these countries, were beholden to foreign powers.
The colonial masters.
Former colonial masters. And they realized that to get off the apron strings of the colonial masters, we have to cut those ties. And it took military intervention to be able to do it for this Sahel region. And exactly, in the Sahel region, one after the other. Okay? So we have 3 countries in the Sahel region that have taken that step.
Yeah.
Okay? Politically, being political correctness will say that the best or the worst democracy, the worst democracy is better than the best dictatorship.
Okay.
Okay? As we know. Political, military administrations are usually totalitarian.
Okay.
They are usually dictators.
So the militarization of the Sahel region may not be, we understand that it's not the best though, so yes, it may not be a kind of an antidote to the jihadist movement that we have here. Is that what you're saying?
No, I said political correctness.
Yeah.
Political correctness would dictate so.
Yeah.
Okay? But we have seen, and I don't advocate that, we have seen nations ruled by one strong man that have prospered. Okay? China would seem to be an example of such. But it's not just a strong man, they have a system, okay, that builds up to what they have. As a matter of fact, China operates a unique kind of democracy because the people have an input. They go through steps to be able to fill the top positions.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me pause you. I'll pause you there so that I'll bring Honorable Destiny Nabulile into the discussion. Okay. Now, Honorable Destiny, we are still trying to look at the failed, security strategy that may be said, may have been responsible for the military junta. Just like what Honorable Fred Wigwe was trying to say, that in an attempt to bring some form of correctness in government, the military had to take over. But very recently, to the extent that we have the region of Sahel states, and that seems not to be having a toll on the military, on the jihadist movements in this region. So from your own point of view, what do you think is responsible? What primarily are the issues?
Yeah, Mr. Evans, as I said earlier, I will try to take my mind back. Yes, from the last speaker, if you are a student of history, there's a documentary that explains the slavery, which is the root. And you try to look at, or perhaps equally cast your mind back, look at a book by Walter Rodney, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. There's equally another one, How Africa Underdeveloped Africa. I've forgotten his name, but this is my Igbo brother friend. You see, if you look at the whole of all this, the documentary, the literatures, you try to look at them, you will agree with me that we will be handed over a country that believes in the white supremacy, thus inherited by our quote unquote the so-called ruiners. Sorry, the so-called rulers that are ruling us now. If I might be right if I call them ruiners. I might be right. Hence, the issue of us not, completely departing from the colonial master is inevitable. That is the gospel truth. Because they have inherited the very bad side of the colonial master to administer their fellow citizen, thereby making themselves a demigod. They determine who gets what, when, and how, without necessarily having a recourse to the larger citizen or the electorate. That is why we have what is ongoing, the disturbance, the conundrum in the Sahel region. Let nobody paint it left, right, center. As I said earlier, I tried to quote Nelson Mandela. Let me reiterate. He said that every man desires a kind of life. When that kind of life is not forthcoming, he's born to be an outlaw. That is the gospel truth. So the issue of you seeing some military takeover left, right, center is this quest to hold sway to power in perpetuity, like what we currently have in Uganda. A man that has been there since 1986, if I'm not mistaken. He has just been re-elected. So, my brother, of that age, well, to me, I don't think there's something meaningful of that age, because at that age, his cognitive reasoning, started diminishing. That is the gospel truth. So, for us as a people, as I have said earlier, in having this correctness, which is the reason for the military, incursion or overthrow of the civilian rule. One, we must have what we call governance, because there is a difference between a government and governance. Let me say this: you can equally have governance in khaki, in military. You can have governance in military. You can equally have governance in civilian. But as we currently have in Africa, in the Sahel region, as we speak, Nigeria inclusive, we don't have governance because the rule of law to over 80% is absent. One of the things that defines governance is the rule of law. I think it was the former United States of America president that once said that one of the problems of Africa is this issue of strong men rather than strong institutions. A situation where a president of over 80 or close to 80 begin to live like a city boy, when the majority are looking at him living in affluence, and the reasonable other numbers, they are living in penury, then there's bound to be an outlaw. And with utmost humility, at the time, some of us were almost clamoring for our brothers in the khaki to come and intervene in the Nigeria situation, including my humble self. I must be very frank with you. So for us, as a people, in getting this correctness in civilian administration by not allowing the khaki, I'm using Nigeria as a case study now, they must begin to bring in the letters of governance to play by way of allowing the rule of law to take place and allowing the people to have a say because they are a majority. A situation where they can only have a say and the minority will have their way, there is a problem. The minority, please underline, the minority will have their way, but the majority will only have their say. That is the opposite. So for us as a people and as a nation, we must begin to call a spade, and it's never a garden fork. And we must begin to question the status quo. Because whether we like it or not, God has blessed Nigeria. I read a book by Professor Abiodun Alao when he wrote something about natural endowment. I think he was talking about Angola. He said in the part, I think it's chapter 7, the opening paragraph, I'm not mistaken, that other nations of the world were frowning and questioning God. Why did he bless Angola with such, mineral and abundant resources?
Now.
And God told them, just wait until you see their leader.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Now, the program is still African Discourse. We'll quickly go for a short break. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned. All right, thank you one more time. The program is still African Discourse on your television. And this afternoon, we are looking at the Sahel region and looking at the militarization of this region and, of course, the impact of, this militarization on terrorism. Yeah, the militarization doesn't have a positive impact on terrorism or a negative impact is what we're talking about today. And two guests on our program today, we have two honorables. Honorable Destiny Inabolele is joining us virtually from Abuja, and also Honorable Fred Uyigwe. Now, Honorable Destiny, we'll just go back to you now to anchor your point. We're trying to establish what is responsible for the seemingly failed security strategy, in this Sahel region, despite the military junta. You were trying to, establish that fact a while ago. So may you continue with that point?
Earlier, you see, to be very frank, there is no way the militarization will address the insurgents or the insecurity in the Sahel, in the region. If you look at it, let me try to draw your mind back to December Christmas Day gift, 2025 Christmas Day gift by United States President, by the bombing of the Sokoto Aziz. You saw the aftermath of what follows. What that means, the issue of militarization it is a short term. It is a short term. The long term, effect or rather, to be able to get the desired, results. As I have said, many scholars they have said it. That is for us to address the issue of poverty, the issue of climate change, and bring on board the spirit and letters of good governance or governance to the people. That is the long term. Whatever we are doing now, we are only, dressing. Is what my grandmother will refer to as, patching. It will not address it. It will not have a long-term effect. So for us as a people, that's why I said it just now. That for us as a people, we must have a rethink on the methodology and approach of our governance system. For us, if for instance you are privileged to be presiding over a country, and you are living in affluence, majority of the people are living in penury. Definitely, the people must resort to something else. That is. I'm not advocating, but if you say I'm advocating, there's no problem about that. The point I am saying is, which is very simple: what is good for the goose is equally good for the gander. Okay. A situation where a president of a country is buying yachts, is buying private jets unappropriated for, and what have you, living like a city boy. Even me, when I'm living in Abuja, since I'm living in the creek, there is a problem. That is my point. So for us, in getting a long-term effect of this militarization, call it. That's why I said it just now. We can equally get governance from military administration. We can even get good governance from military administration. Like Burkina Faso, as we speak very just now, is doing well. But although I'm not saying that the men in khaki should intervene in the Nigerian situation, but if that is your own understanding, I'm home at dry. So for us, as a people, I appreciate what we are doing, because 2027 is gradually drawing near. We cannot talk about it without talking about how we elect. I wouldn't want to use the word of Professor Odiokali, where he says there's a word he used, kind of, it is the court that selects. How the people themselves elect their people. It is crucial and sacrosanct in us achieving good governance. It is very crucial and important. So for the people must be able to vouch for who represent them.
Okay.
So that is my point, because in all of this, let me land with this thought. In all of this, in getting it right, whether in the Mali, whether in Chad, whether in blah blah blah, what the LCM, I attended afternoon school. The LCM of this whole thing is who governs the people, how sincere, the political way to be able to drive home the governance to the creek. It does matter, because when the people have good life, if you are living well, you are my neighbor, you are living well, and I am living well, I will not have ill thoughts towards you. We will live in harmony. But a situation where you are living in affluence, and I can only get one square meal a day, I might decide to form an alliance with kidnappers to do the needful. It has happened. We have had stories like that. So for us,
all right, thank you.
Thank
you, Honorable. Yeah, thank you so much. Now, Honorable Fred Uigwe, let's bring it down a little bit now, because we've also seen other factors, which personally I want to describe them as external factors. I mean, we'll talk about the mercenary factors now. These are external factors. Ordinarily, they are not part of this continent. They're not part of the region. But for the fact that due to the terrorism, the jihadist movement, we've seen these mercenary factors creeping into the region. I mean, the other time we saw how the Wagner, sponsored by the Russian government, how they came into the Sahel region. And then we've also seen the French government. I mean, it had to take the efforts of the Nigerian government to, wipe away the French military from Niger. And we've also seen incursions from China. I mean, recently we saw it took a Donald Trump to start making a caution. I don't want to use the word a caution though, but all these are external factors, mercenary factors, so to say. And we also understand that we once had a president in this country that actually called for these mercenaries to come and wrestle the terrorism problem in this region, in the Sahel region. And despite all this, the issue seems not to be abating. You want to speak more on that?
When we talk about mercenaries, for example, we have to distinguish those who came or who
those who were
showed
invited,
interest,
okay,
so those who wanted to come,
and those who were invited,
and those who we went to invite.
Okay,
okay, like the Donald Trump issue. You know, we went there to invite him. Okay.
Well, he showed interest. He showed concern. He showed interest.
He only showed concern.
Yeah.
After Nigerians had agitated and have taken their case up to the Congress and actually requested that we be designated a country of particular concern.
Yeah.
Which we were once during his first administration, and that was removed during the Biden's administration. And then we saw the repercussion, how terrorism, insurgency, and banditry all spiked. And then, because of the consequences and what the people had suffered, then those who had suffered, the victims, went back to say, well, that removal of the designation of CPC should be restored. And that is what made him to say, okay, we hear you. We will restore it and we will respond. That's the United States of America.
Yeah.
Goodluck Ebele Jonathan.
Former president.
Former president of Nigeria.
Yeah.
After the adoption of the Chibok girls, that was on April 14th, 2014. With us going closer to a new round of election in 2015, he invited mercenaries from the south, because without stabilizing the security situation in the northeast, it was not going to be possible for us to have a credible national election that will capture all the geographical regions of the nation. So he invited a group from South Africa. And I listened to a documentary by I think one of their proprietors, and he said that the only reason they pulled out after almost 2 months was because they were not being paid.
That the mercenaries were not being paid?
Yes, that they were not being paid. That they got the first salary, they got the first tranche of their contract agreement, and after that, they were not being paid, so they had to leave.
Yeah, Honorable, okay. What we are really looking at is what has been what we really want to say has been the impact. Yeah,
the impact of the American intervention and that of South Africa.
Yes,
were positive, both of them. Okay, because after the American strike of December 25th, 2025, the insurgency abated. Okay.
Really? Even with other stories that the continuous kidnapping that has, even after that, one just happened some few days ago.
Yeah, it's like they are regrouping again. Perhaps because they were not hit hard enough. All right. So the insurgency abated. The other mercenaries that invited, that are interjecting.
The Wagner Group now.
The Wagner Group.
Wagner Group. Then
The Wagner
was
Group.
also the French group in Niger. Yeah.
French
That they even had
as
to
a
build their
policy-
base there.
No, France as a policy. France as a policy felt the need to have a base in West Africa because they had somehow tied the economies of the financial systems of the Francophone countries to that of France. Okay, and they were using their military base to enforce what they were forcing the Francophone countries to do. So they planted their military base in
Niger. Yeah.
Okay. China not wanting to be left out. See an opportunity, especially now that all kinds of mineral resources are being discovered around Nigeria. So they see that there will be a need for competition. If they are not present, then those who are present are going to take advantage of the situation. So they are coming in. They have not done so militarily that much, except I believe in Gambia. You know, they set up a military base or police base in Gambia. So China wants to come in, France, Britain, the United States, India too.
And their intentions are questionable.
And all of them because we have natural resources. Outside of natural resources, there's a great potential. Africa now has, I think, a population of 1.3 billion, and of which about 60% are youths. So there is potential for growth. What Africa portends in the next 20, 30 years is going to be economically impactful to the world. And so all of them want to be a part of it. Okay. And it is for us as Africans to create that environment that we allow us collaborate, relate, negotiate with all these interests on a favorable, from a favorable standpoint. Okay, from a stronger standpoint than we have always negotiated. We have not always negotiated to the benefit of our interests and advantages. Take our political situation, for example. I was just thinking, how is it that if we are going to have a presidential election in Nigeria, our own presidential candidates will travel to the UK, to Chatham House, and be having a debate? Who does that?
Or around the world. His candidacy may have to be approved.
Yes. So, what are we trying to get? Approval? Like they have some votes there to cast? The votes are here. Why then do we need the approval? So there's something wrong with our system.
Okay.
These are things that we need to fix.
Okay. All right. So as we comment our dissent now because of time factor, Honorable Inabulele, I'll quickly bring you in again. I want you to talk on the humanitarian crisis because this militarization in the Sahel region has also, been responsible for some humanitarian crises that the region has known. I mean, the issue of jihadist movement, the issue of terrorism is on one side, creating problems on a daily basis. Now, how do we mitigate this humanitarian crisis that the presence of the coming of the Sahel region, so to say? How do we mitigate it?
I said it earlier. I said there is a long term and there is a short term. What my elder brother at the studio just said is just a short term, like what happened, like the Christmas Day gift from the United States of America. It was a short term. You saw what happened thereafter. After the bombing, we have seen series of kidnapping left, right, center. It does not address it. What address this kind of crisis is for us to be able to situate it properly. We must address poverty. We must address climate change. And again, in the spirit of governance, the letter of good governance, or call it whatever, must be addressed squarely. It's the only way. And in trying to answer your question, you see, when an airstrike is targeted, there's no way you can't take out what you call it must definitely affect a civilian. That is the non-actor in the act of terrorism. They are innocent persons. And the issue of the economy, the issue of the economy, you saw what happened in Sokoto, for instance. So there was this cry, and to be very sincere with you, it must definitely affect farmlands, because majority of the northern people, they are into farming. So definitely there's an economic crisis, would now lead to us having a humanitarian, crisis and assistance. So for us as a people, you can see world over, countries are being, insular. They are kind of, isolated. They are taken to their share because of what is currently, evolving as a result of Trump and American, policy to the world. You can see them now pulling out of many multilateral organizations, so to speak. You see, in the near future, in the coming days, in the coming years, Nigeria and Sahel regions, states, countries, when I say state countries, must begin to develop what will address this crisis. And what is it that's going to address this crisis? You ask me. It's to be truthful to power, by way of using it to the betterment of all of us, not for a selected few. I keep on saying it. Let nobody deceive us. There are certain things that we can do for ourselves. Disturbing our Lord Jesus Christ to come and help us, it is an aberration. God has blessed Nigeria with mineral, just name them, and natural resources. Since 1960, that, according to my other brother, I said there was a language he used, that they handed over the governance and the administration of our country to us. What have we achieved? What have these mineral and natural resources addressed? Has it addressed our question? Has it answered our question? The answer is no. That's why I said it just now, that we can get good governance from military men, that military, from coup. For instance, if I cast a mind back, just suppose vis-a-vis the civilian rule and the military rule. Some scholars have agreed that what we have achieved as a nation was during the military, which is subject to debate. Some scholars they've alluded to that fact, that what we have achieved as a nation is during the military. So for us as a people, as I have said, the issue of humanitarian, it will be there. Nigerians must look inward to see how, because
thank you, Honorable.
There are no free
Honorable Destiny, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, thank you for that. Now, Honorable Igwe, just 30 seconds. I want you to wrap it up now. Now, should we encourage, the militarization, in this Sahel region? Because for some persons, they begin to say that that's the only way out, since government is not doing what it ought to take to arrest the terrorism. Should we encourage militarization? Quickly.
I disagree. I don't believe we should. If we can support visionary leaders, I don't think that Nigerians' problem is intractable. I don't believe that we have insurmountable problems. Okay, we don't just have the kind of people who have the will and the vision to be able to correct our problems. So we need to identify such people and then put them in positions of power. If through democratic processes, better. Okay? The problem we are suffering, sir.
Yeah.
The problem we are suffering, sir. I'll tell you this. If the Constitution handed over to us, the so-called 1999 Constitution as amended, which was initially the 79 Constitution. Okay? It was not written to create or to foster a level playing ground.
All right, so what you're saying is that we need to get our governance right.
Yes,
okay.
So that we can begin to correct the anomalies, those checks and balances. You see, functionaries, people you are elect and all that, they will abuse the system.
Okay.
If the system allows them the opportunity to abuse it.
All right, Honorable, I'll pause you there.
Yes,
I'll pause you there because of time.
So if we can, if we do elect leaders who are truly patriotic and who really look, Nigeria is blessed.
All right, thank you so much.
Blessed with brains.
Thank you so much because
people who can sit down and really dissect our problems as a nation and solve them.
Okay. All right, so I want to say thank you so much, Honorable, for coming on the program today. Now, a viewer, watching right there, just tweeted that the militarization is fueled by weak governance and corruption and extreme poverty and the inability of states to provide security, making the region highly vulnerable to insecurity. Just as these two honorables have said here, that the militarization is fueled by bad governance. That's just the basis of it all, and that's what Honorable Destiny also said too. So I want to say thank you so much, gentlemen, to Honorable Destiny Nabulele for joining the program today, African Discourse. All right, so this is where we'll bet the ship here today on the program until same time next week, when we will come with another topic and also another set of guests. My name is Evan Sudokoge. Good afternoon.
The Ugewe is the final ceremony of the series of festivals. It is one of peace and lightheartedness, following the more solemn of the ritual year. Ugewe is the festival of the Ewe leaves, a symbol of good luck and joy. It is the most popular of all that heralds the dawn of a Benin New Year, new vow, newness of life and freshness of life, and a new hope for the future. In the evening, the Ewe leaves are presented to the Oba of Benin in grand style in a colorful ceremony. The Ihogbe society, amidst singing and dancing, bring the sacred leaves that symbolize good luck, blessings, peace, and prosperity. Each of the senior members of the Ihogbe proceeds to give the sacred leaves directly to the Oba of Benin, and others put theirs at his feet.
Kidney is an excretory organ in the body which is for metabolic.